So in yesterday's class, we left off at antiemetics. I was going to tell you about the different classes that are present in antiemetics. Now, antiemetics, as the name suggests, these are drugs that will stop emesis. Okay, they'll stop a patient from vomiting. Now, there are six different classes. They are the first three are more commonly used. The other three are used, but only in specific conditions they'll be used. Okay, the first one will be serotonin antagonists. ठीक है, इसको 5-HT3 भी बोलते हैं, 5-hydroxytryptamine, 5-HT3. ठीक है. Now, serotonin is normally produced in gut, and it travels to your brain. It will cross the BBB, and that is how it is going into the brain and acting as a neurotransmitter. Now, the thing is that whenever a person has severe nausea, or whenever you see that the patient is vomiting or about to vomit, if you observe them clinically, in the sense that if you see their blood picture and all, you will see that there is a lot of stimulus coming from serotonin. So at this point of time, what is happening is this serotonin is rushing to your chemotrigger zone. Your brainstem में chemotrigger zone रहता, it is rushing to that area. Now, what you can do in this scenario is, if you are able to block serotonin receptors, even if there is a lot of serotonin going to the CTZ, chemotrigger zone is the zone wherein which when stimulated you will induce vomiting. Essentially, whenever chemotrigger zone is induced, stimulated, the person will start vomiting. So the stimulus is coming from serotonin. Okay, there can be several stimuli, not just serotonin. There can be a number of stimuli, but one big stimuli that you get is from serotonin, and this specifically happens when the patient is nauseated. तो आप क्या कर सकते हैं, when you give a serotonin blocker, ठीक है, antagonist, essentially it will block the receptor of serotonin. So as that receptor is blocked, you will not get the function of serotonin anymore, and you are essentially stopping the preventing vomiting. Okay, the most common drug that is used as a this thing serotonin antagonist will be ondansetron. You'll find this as Zofar, very 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 common. I'm sure you must have come across this drug quite a lot. Ondansetron Zofar के वैसे बहुत देते, इंजेक्शन या ओरल भी देते. मोर कॉमनली इट इज गिवन एज इंजेक्शन रादर देन ओरल. आप ओरल भी दे सकते हो ना, तो जनरली 4 to 8 mg देते. You start off with 4 mg. If need be, you'll go to 8 mg. Okay. It is especially used in case where MSS is occurring because of radiotherapy or anti-neoplastic use. ठीक है, ये पूरा में काम आता. General side effects will be headache and GI upset, abdominal pain, abdominal discomfort होता है इससे, and the patient might have a headache. ठीक है. Then we have second class, which is dopamine antagonists. So just like serotonin, dopamine can also act as a trigger to CTZ, as we talked about in prokinetic agents. I told you when we were discussing about metoclopramide and domperidone, both of them will also help in blocking vomiting response, or they will stop the response of vomiting essentially by blocking CTZ. As I told you, CTZ will get several different types of stimuli. अब आप कोई तो भी एक स्टिमुलाई को ब्लॉक करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. जनरली यू विल नॉट गिव सेवरल डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ एंटीएमेटिक्स टुगेदर. It can cause overload and can cause a big problem. So whenever you use one of these types, it will block that specific receptor. तो serotonin antagonist दे रहे तो serotonin receptor को block करता. Dopamine antagonist, specifically these will be D2 receptors. ठीक है, these will block D2 receptors. There are several types of dopamine receptors, D1 to D5. This will block D2 receptors. ठीक है, and once they are blocking D2 receptors in your CNS, CTZ में, they will promote gastric emptying. They will also increase your esophageal sphincter contraction, tone of that esophageal sphincter, and they will stop emesis. So the same prokinetic agents जो अपन previous class में पढ़े थे, सेम वैसे ही रहता. Metoclopramide and domperidone. Domperidone is generally preferred over metoclopramide because it has fewer side effects, fewer long-lasting problems. As I told you, metoclopramide से Parkinson's disease develop कर सकते. So and this domperidone generally does not cause as much problems as metoclopramide. So there is that. Then third class will be anti-muscarinic agents. So there was serotonin blockers, serotonin antagonist, dopamine antagonist, now anti-muscarinics. Anti-muscarinics are essentially anticholinergic drugs. Okay, they will block the response from acetylcholine. All right. You have anti-muscarinic drugs में there are two different types. Okay, you can use either drugs like hyoscine, which are direct this thing direct acetylcholine blockers, or you can also use antihistamines, H1 antihistamines. The receptor it will work on will be different. ठीक है, हायोसिन जो है मस्कारेनिक रिसेप्टर्स पे काम करता, H1 antihistamine will work on H1 type of, उसको भी muscarinic M1 type of muscarinic receptor बोलते हैं, but it's slightly different drug. ठीक है, the receptor itself on which it is acting will be slightly different. Both of them will give you the same function or at least similar function. See, these both are generally used, especially hyoscine is used in traveling sickness. Now, I'm not sure whether you heard about it or not, but there is something called motion sickness or traveling sickness. Some people, when they travel, generally in vehicles of diesel or in areas which are really polluted, वो areas में whenever they go, they will get a psychological response. Now there are several problems. Generally, people who have motion sickness, they will have overstimulus of vestibular apparatus. The inner ear में जो vestibular apparatus रहता, you know that your ear is responsible for hearing as well as for balance. Now vestibular apparatus जो inner ear में रहता, if it is overstimulated, it can cause nausea, severe nausea. तो हायोसिन क्या करता, ये overstimulation को रोक देता. So vomiting itself, if it is happening because of, if it is a motion sickness type of vomiting or traveling sickness type of vomiting, in that scenario that patient will generally have excessive stimulus of their vestibular apparatus. There will be psychological factors affecting them as well as environmental factors. So pollution, uh, closed spaces, weird smells, वो पूरे trigger करते vomiting को. तो to avoid all of that, what you can do is you can take hyoscine. Generally 0.4 0.6 mg tablet मिलता, छोटा पिल रहता, 0.4 to 0.6 mg. ठीक है, oral tablet मिलता, you can take this 30 minutes before the journey starts and it will work for 6 hours. ठीक है, 30 minutes before journey. ठीक है, it will work for 6 hours. Now in case the what do you call journey continues for over 6 hours, you can simply repeat the drug. ठीक है, after 6 hours. Now these drugs are also called labyrinthine sedatives. ठीक है, labyrinthine area जो आपके inner ear में रहता, वहां पर जाके एक्ट करते, वेस्टिबुलर apparatus labyrinthine area, उसलिए उन लोगों को labyrinthine sedatives भी बोलते हैं. Now hyoscine के साथ एक प्रॉब्लम क्या है, it will cause sedation. Most common side effects will be sedation and it will cause dry mouth. So let us suppose you are traveling and the destination is, let us suppose within 6 hours, 6 hours के अंदर है and आप orally ले ले. So what happens is, let us suppose you are only traveling for 2 hours, you have traveling sickness but you are only traveling for 2 to 3 hours, you'll still have that side effect of dizziness. And if you are doing something very active after reaching to that position, let us suppose you are giving a speech or things like that, wherein you need your complete attention, in that scenario hyoscine, this form of oral hyoscine will not be helpful. तो आप क्या कर सकते हैं, you get transdermal patches. Transdermal patches of hyoscine can be applied behind your ear. ठीक है, it will slowly start releasing the drug and this will release the drug over 3 days. Now if you have stopped, let's suppose the journey was only for 2 hours and you have stopped, you can simply remove the patch. ठीक है, within a little bit of time you should be adjusted, the drug will be out of your system. ठीक है, सो जब भी जितना रिक्वायरमेंट है उतनी देर के लिए आप पैच लगा के रख सकते हैं. नाउ ओरल ड्रग यू कैन नॉट डू मच, वंस यू हैव टेकन इन यू कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग टू दैट ड्रग. ठीक है, until unless you are at a hospital and you are inducing vomiting or something like that. But for a patch you can simply remove the patch, which will be easier, more convenient in case you have stopped the journey. ठीक है, then that is hyoscine. H1 antihistamines में कई drugs आते हैं. You will have promethazine, there is diphenhydramine, cyclizine, you can use doxylamine and cinnarazine. Now, these are the popular ones. Okay, these five are generally used. Mostly the first three. ठीक है, कभी कभी सिनाराजिन भी अच्छा ही यूज करते हैं. Now, these drugs have proper anticholinergic property. Just like hyoscine, they will have an anticholinergic property and they will block H1 receptors in your area postrema. So, आपके कीमो ट्रिगर जोन के पास, मेड्यूला स्पेसिफिकली के पास, एरिया पोस्ट्रमा बोल के एक ड्यूअल स्ट्रक्चर रहता. ओके, वो स्ट्रक्चर को जब स्टिमुलस मिलता, it can in turn stimulate chemotrigoson, and essentially what will happen is that it will cause vomiting. Okay, as I told you, there are several stimuli to vomiting. It is not just one or two stimuli to vomiting. There can be several different types of stimuli. Dopamine से आ सकता, serotonin से आ सकता, so on and so forth. Inner ear से आ सकता. So now depending on which type of what do you call area you are blocking, you will use different type of drug. H1 receptors, be very careful. H2 receptors are used in PUD and acid secretion. वो पूरे कम करने H2 receptors को use आप block कर रहे हैं. ठीक है, वो histamine type 2 receptors है, ये histamine type 1 receptor है. बहुत बड़ा difference है दोनों के बीच में. ठीक है, ये H1 antihistamines जो है, they will have more of a cholinergic effect. ठीक है, acetylcholine से conform करते ही है. Now, these H1 antihistamines will not only block the H1 receptors in your this thing, what you call area postrema, they will also block muscarinic receptors that are present in your CNS. So you will get dual function from antihistamines. Hyoscine से खाली hyoscine से खाली the receptors present in your vestibular apparatus can be blocked. ठीक है, overstimulation of vestibular apparatus can be stopped with hyoscine. With this antihistamines, H1 antihistamines, you will get both muscarinic receptor blockage as well as blockage in your area postrema of H1 receptors. Okay, this is again, you can use it for motion sickness. It will have a more stronger effect, especially with respect to sedation. इसका sedation hyoscine से ज़्यादा strong रहता. And you can also use it for post-operative sickness. Some people will have a lot of sickness after the operation. तो वो लोगों में भी आप prophylactically antihistamine H1 antihistamines दे सकते हैं. ठीक है, now these are the three main classes that are generally used. ठीक है, antiemetics में there are three more classes but they are not used, they are very specific in their usage. ठीक है, for example we have neurokinin receptor blockers. These will also come under antiemetics but thoda alag hai, in the sense that these will, now neurokinin receptors are present in your area postrema. Okay, you'll have two drugs in this, aprepitant and fosaprepitant. Okay, one is oral, the other is IV. This fellow is oral, this is IV. Now you can use it in combination as well. Generally these are used in combination for patients who have nausea and vomiting due to chemotherapy. Okay, specifically strong type of antiemetics you will not give it to every patient. Okay, only patients who are having sickness or nausea and vomiting, severe nausea and vomiting जो chemotherapy से होता, वो type of nausea and vomiting को आप avoid करने के लिए उसको डिक्रीज करने के लिए आप न्यूरोकाइनिन रिसेप्टर ब्लॉकर्स दे रहे हो. It will have a lot of side effects. I'm not going to go into detail because these drugs are not used a lot. Okay, even if you give a brief description of what they are, that will be more than enough. Okay, the first three classes are more often used: serotonin blockers, dopamine blockers, and antimuscarinics, both hyoscine and H1 antihistamines. Then there are something called neuroleptics. Now neuroleptics में एक drug आता fluorpromazine. We'll study a little bit more about chlorpromazine when we study about this thing, antipsychotic drugs. ठीक है, उसमें आप डिटेल्ड में है, यहाँ पर उतना डिटेल नहीं रहता. These are also dopamine blockers. ठीक है, they are a different type of dopamine blockers. They will also block D2 receptors. Mechanism is slightly different, but they will also block D2 receptors. D2 receptor blockers. ठीक है, they are useful in motion sickness. chlorpromazine. Up there is another drug called prochlorpromazine. Prochlorperazine. This fellow is specifically useful in vertigo. So vertigo is a condition in which patients will have dizziness and specifically giddiness whenever they look down. Okay, it can be even when they are walking normally and they look down. Whenever they change their neck position, they will generally get a little bit of dizziness. Okay, sometimes the giddiness will be so much that they'll start vomiting or they might fall down, things like that. So वैसे patients को, I'm not going into what is vertigo and all of that, how it occurs. I'm just giving you a brief scenario. सो वर्टिगो पेशेंट्स में आप क्लोरप्रोप्रामाजीन भी यूज कर सकते हैं, सेम न्यूरोलेप्टिक ही है. इट विल आल्सो ब्लॉक D2 receptor, but very effective in patients who have vertigo. Then the last class of antiemetics will be other agents, very rarely given. ठीक है, इसमें आता है ग्लूकोकॉर्टिकॉइड्स. ठीक है, specifically these glucocorticoids are used in combination with ondansetron and metoclopramide. Yeah, metoclopramide. You can use cannabinoids. Now, cannabinoids, even though it has good anti-emetic effect, there is a problem of dependence. Okay, it will have behavioral whenever a patient is taking cannabis or cannabinoid agents, it will stimulate your cannabinoid receptors that are present in the vomiting center near your CTZ. Okay, the problem is that this drug, so you have one drug in this called dronabinol. This drug can cause behavioral abnormalities and it can cause dependence in the patient. ठीक है, dependence to the drug. So generally cannabinoids use नहीं करते. ठीक है, that is why I told you the first three categories are more commonly used. These are mostly reserved when the first three categories are not working or the patient is not responding properly to them. ठीक है, maybe they have grown accustomed to those drugs, their receptors are not responding, तो आप ये तीन use कर रहे. ठीक है, डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट कंडीशन है आप अलग एंटी एमेटिक एजेंट्स यूज करते हैं. सो फॉर एग्जांपल मोशन सिकनेस है पेशेंट को, यू कैन यूज हायोसिन, साइक्लिजीन, प्रोमेथazine. समटाइम्स यू कैन आल्सो यूज क्लोरप्रोमाजीन. अगर vomiting due to antineoplastics है, in the sense if the patient is taking anti-cancer agents, वो condition में आप ondansetron dexamethasone का combination दे सकते हैं, या metoclopramide, dexamethasone, diphenhydramine and lorazepam का combination दे सकते हैं. Lorazepam is a sedative agent. We'll study about them in sedatives. You have it in a different chapter. If it is occurring due to different drugs. Now, sometimes what will happen is when the patient is on certain drugs, they will not just anti-cancer agents, some other drugs can also stimulate vomiting. तो बहुत सिवियर होने लगती वॉमिटिंग. जब क्या करते, you will give chlorpromazine or metoclopramide. Now normally keep in mind that side effects are not treated. ठीक है, you will treat the main condition but you will not treat the side effect until and unless it is becoming very severe. So let us suppose there is a patient who has some condition and you are giving drug number 1. ठीक है, and this is an essential drug that you have to give, you cannot remove this drug at all. ठीक है, maybe you don't have a choice, you cannot give other drugs, or maybe all of the drugs in this class have the same side effect. ठीक है, there is one very prominent side effect. ठीक है, let us suppose this prominent side effect is vomiting. Only in that scenario where the patient is literally getting dehydrated and all of that and you cannot remove drug 1, that is when you add drug 2 that will be an antiemetic. Okay, normally side effects are not treated, keep that in mind, until and unless you have a drug that you cannot replace, the primary drug that you cannot replace and whose side effect you are not able to decrease in any other way, only then you will introduce another drug. ठीक है, जनरली दिस विल हैपन हु इन पेशेंट हु हैव पॉलीफार्मेसी, जिनके अंदर बहुत सारे ड्रग्स रहते हैं, उनके अंदर होता ही है. ठीक है, आईसीयू पेशेंट्स, एमआईसीयू पेशेंट्स, उनके अंदर बहुत दिखता ही है. ठीक है, नॉर्मली ओपन वर्ड पेशेंट्स में उतना नहीं रहता, और एटलीस्ट पेशेंट्स हु हैव फ्यूअर ड्रग्स उनके अंदर उतना नहीं होता. ठीक है, अगर पोस्ट ऑपरेटिव वॉमिटिंग है तो ऑन्डानसेट्रॉन देते हैं, मेटोक्लोप्रोमाइड दे सकते हैं. एंड वॉमिटिंग इन केस ऑफ प्रेगनेंसी, now motion sick, morning sickness भी ले लो, या any type of vomiting that will occur in pregnancy, you can use dicyclomine. आप पायरिडॉक्सिन यूज कर सकते हैं, साइक्लिजीन यूज कर सकते हैं, H1 एंटीहिस्टामिन्स रहते हैं। मेटोक्लोप्रोमाइड समटाइम्स नॉट प्रिफर्ड नाउअडेज बिकॉज दे आर बेटर ऑल्टरनेटिव्स, बट एक टाइम पे मेटोक्लोप्रोमाइड भी देते थे। Nowadays cyclizine is more preferred, dicyclomine is more preferred, but it will cause sedation. There is that problem. So you have to make sure that when you are giving the drug, uh, the pregnant lady is not moving around, because sometimes क्या होता है चक्कर आके गिर सकते हैं and all of that, ठीक है, because of sedation. Now that concludes our antiemetics. Let us start drugs in constipation. Now, these drugs are categorized in four main categories. ठीक है, constipation के drugs, laxatives, purgatives. You'll also find them as cathartics. But there is one way of classifying it, wherein depending on how strong they are, you can classify them based on purgatives, cathartics, or laxatives. Laxatives are slightly milder, cathartics are stronger, then purgatives are the strongest. Uh, the classification that you will generally find in most textbooks will be in this way. You will have bulk laxatives, fecal softeners. One second. Then there are osmotic purgatives, and finally stimulant purgatives. So in constipation, I specifically mean that the patient is not able to defecate properly. Now, one thing you have to remember is that normally normal bowel movement can range anywhere between 3 motions per day to 2 motions per week. वैसा भी रह सकता है, depending on the patient, the person's physical movement, depending on the amount of food they are eating, बहुत सारे factors रहते, but generally speaking 3 motions per day to 2 motions per week, all of that is normal. Anything less than that or anything more than that will be a problem, ठीक है. Let's suppose the patient is having less than 2 motions per week, that is generally when it is classified under constipation, and they are having a lot of flatulence, stomach ache, general malaise because of not able to void their bowels. वो condition में आप ये drugs देते हैं, because what can happen is people can get addicted to these drugs as well. So there is that problem. People will generally what they will do is, instead of taking the other non-pharmacological precautions, so whenever we talk about treatment as such, there is pharmacological therapy and non-pharmacological therapy. Pharmacological therapy will involve treatment by drugs. Okay, आप drugs देके treat कर रहे हैं. Non-pharmacological therapy will be everything other than drugs. तो आप diet change कर रहे हैं, exercise कर रहे हैं, whatever it is, ठीक है. All of them will come under non-pharmacological. Now, generally, what people want is a quick fix. That is a problem here. If you are looking for a quick fix, what will happen is patients will start to get addicted to those quick fixes. And just like as I told you, patients of PUD or GERD, rather than avoid taking the rather than making sure that their habits are good, in the sense that not eating uh, fatty food in the night, or not eating very heavy meals, or avoiding smoking or drinking, things like that, wo karne ke bajaye, what they will do is they'll start getting addicted to anti-PUD drugs, essentially PPIs and all of those. So you have to make sure that when you are counseling the patient, these drugs are only the last measure. Try everything else. If those are not working, then ये drugs use करना, ठीक है, because however they are drugs, ठीक है. Even if most of them do not get absorbed systemically, most of them will not get absorbed systemically, they just go and directly act on the feces, but still there can be side effects and there can be problems, ठीक है, especially on overuse. Keep that in mind. Now coming to the first class, we have bulk laxatives. Bulk laxatives जो है, you have in this bran, इप्सागुला, अगार, मिथाइल सेल्यूलोस, ये पूरे यूज करते हैं. दीज आर स्पेसिफिकली वेजिटेबल फाइबर्स. इनडाइजेस्टेबल वेजिटेबल फाइबर्स जो रहते हैं, इनडाइजेस्टेबल वेजिटेबल फाइबर, कोलॉइड्स, वो पूरों को आप एक जगह कॉन्सेंट्रेट करके you will give that as a drug. Now what this fellow will do is it will increase stool volume. Sometimes some patients do not have enough amount of stool volume because they are simply not eating enough, and that can cause a problem. So what you are doing is you are artificially increasing stool volume, and this will result in large soft and solid stool, because of which it will become slightly easier for the patient to void their bowels. All right. So specific drugs यहाँ पर will include bran. You can also use ipsagula. इप्सागुला एंड प्लांटा को सीड्स मिलते हैं, ठीक है, वो सीड्स को भी आप कंज्यूम कर सकते हैं। इप्सागुला एंड प्लांटा को स्पेशली विल एक्ट एज नेचुरल म्यूसिलेज, ठीक है, दे विल absorb a lot of water and make a gelatinous mass. Because of that gelatinous mass, the bulk of that patient's bowel will increase, feces will increase, and they'll be able to void their bowel easily. Now generally bran is not very palatable. खाने में बहुत बुरा टेस्ट आता है उसका, एंड पेशेंट्स विल नॉट जनरली वांट टू ईट इट, सो आप पिप्सागुला दे सकते हैं। एंड ब्रांड ऑल्सो हैज अनदर प्रॉब्लम, इट विल कॉज फ्लैटुलेंस गैसेस, तो दैट प्रॉब्लम विल नॉट बी प्रेजेंट विद इप्सागुला, एटलीस्ट टू नॉट द एक्सटेंट ऑफ ब्रांड। तो आप पिप्सागुला एंड प्लांटागो सीड्स यूज कर सकते हैं, ठीक है, दोज आर बल्क laxatives. Then there are fecal softeners. These are not getting absorbed systemically. Okay, they are like antacids. जो non-systemic antacids कैसे थे वैसे रहते. These will get inside your body. They'll reach your intestine. They'll reach your large intestine, and they'll start acting on the feces. ठीक है. Most of them will not get absorbed systemically. Now then we have fecal softeners. Fecal softeners जो है, these you have docusate sodium इसमें and liquid paraffin, two drugs. Docusate sodium and liquid paraffin, ठीक है। Docusate sodium softens bowel by lowering surface tension inside your intestinal contents. It will lower the surface tension of your intestinal contents, and what it will do is essentially it will allow more water to be absorbed by the feces. Whatever water is coming into your large bowel, more and more amount of water will be absorbed by that feces, and it will become softer, ठीक है। So that is the main point. Fecal softness, some patients will have a problem where they whatever food they consume, they are either not drinking enough amount of water, and what will happen is their feces will become very hard, so it will become very hard to void their bowels as well. So in that scenario, what you are doing is you are essentially giving drugs that will soften their feces. Docusate sodium is that it will soften the feces by lowering surface tension in your the bowel essentially, ठीक है। लिक्विड पैराफिन विल ऑल्सो डू समथिंग सिमिलर, दिस इज अ केमिकली इनर्ट मिनरल ऑयल, ठीक है, not digested, lubricates and softens feces. This is unpalatable, but liquid paraffin is very very unpalatable, and there is one big problem with liquid paraffin. In case the patient aspirates it, it can cause lipoid pneumonia, ठीक है, by mistake अगर because it is so unpalatable, the patient might start coughing, and they might not swallow it properly. That can lead to aspiration sometimes. So if they are aspirating liquid paraffin, it can lead to pneumonia, lipoid pneumonia होता उसमें specifically. So that can be a problem. Generally liquid paraffin is not preferred. Docusate sodium is used more often. Then we have osmotic purgatives. Now, osmotic purgatives are non-absorbable salts, non-absorbable sugars. For example, lactulose. Lactulose is a very, very commonly used osmotic purgative. You see this in a lot of patients who are old. ठीक है, ओल्डर पेशेंट्स में लैक्टुलोज जनरली देते, ओवर 65-70 उन लोगों को कॉन्स्टिपेशन का इशू रहता, और एटलीस्ट पेशेंट्स हु आर टेकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ ड्रग्स उनके अंदर भी कॉन्स्टिपेशन का इशू हो सकता। abdominal discomfort and constipation is very common with several drugs, तो in those patients it is recommended that you use lactulose, ठीक है। It will not get absorbed inside your body, not get absorbed through this thing, your systemic circulation. These solutes, they will directly go on the intestine, they will go into the intestine, and they will osmotically retain water, and they will increase intestinal contents. They are very similar to bulk laxatives, but these are essentially different type of bulk laxatives. They are not per se bulk laxatives, but they will increase water content, ठीक है। They will increase the bulk by increasing intestinal content of water. So again, it will soften the stool a little bit as well, and another function that lactulose does is it will increase peristalsis. It has this added advantage. Lactulose has the capability of increasing peristalsis to avoid this liquid stool, that liquid stool which is being formed. उसको lactulose दिए तो stool will become slightly liquidy, so that will come out much more easily. Lactulose you can give it as a agent before surgery. Generally you want the patient's bowels to be clear. Whenever you are prepping the patient for surgery, you'll make sure that they have not eaten solid food at least 8 hours to 12 hours before. Okay, and you'll make sure that their bowels are clear. You will also give a agent drug to decrease their acid secretion. Okay, just so that कभी surgery कर रहे जब problem नहीं होना चाहिए. You can also give lactulose in case of food poisoning. If the patient is having severe food poisoning, वो time पे भी आप lactulose दे सकते हैं. ठीक है, whatever bacteria is causing food poisoning, that will be able to flushed out. That will be flushed out of your system. ठीक है. uh, these osmotic purgatives are strong. ठीक है. uh, Generally they are not given. Purgatives as such are stronger type of drugs for constipation. Generally you try with laxatives. अगर laxatives काम नहीं कर रहा तो cathartics पे जाते, fecal softness and all. अगर वो दोनों भी काम नहीं कर रहे तो then you go to purgatives. ठीक है. Then coming lastly to stimulant purgatives, these will produce soft stools within 1 to 2 hours. ठीक है. This is the symbol for with. ठीक है. Within 1 to 2 hours. What they do is they will increase intestinal motility, they will increase water secretion and electrolyte secretion by the mucosa. They will go and stimulate the mucosa of your intestine in order to increase electrolyte secretion, in order to increase water secretion, and in order to increase intestinal motility. All of this will in turn again stimulate peristalsis in a way. It will make sure that the stool is being pushed and the stool is becoming softer because water secretion हो रहा है and electrolyte secretion हो रहा. What will happen is, especially with water secretion, so stools will become softer, and because there is electrolyte secretion and intestinal motility, it will start moving forward more easily. One big problem with stimulant purgatives is that these may cause abdominal cramps. Because you are playing with electrolytes here, what can happen is sometimes spasms can occur and cramps can occur in their abdomen. So that can be a problem. The specific drug that is used as a stimulant purgative will be phenolphthalein. Even though this is a dye, you must have seen this before as well. Phenolphthalein is used as an indicator. Dye है ये, labs में use करते. If you give it orally as a drug, it'll act on the colon after 6 to 8 hours, and it'll take a little bit of time. ठीक है, and it'll produce a soft and semi-liquid kind of stool. ठीक है. This phenolphthalein undergoes intrahepatic circulation, because of which what will happen is it is able to give a very prolonged action. For a long period of time, the patient's bowel will be clear. Sometimes phenolphthalein can cause an allergic reaction. The patient will have pink colored skin eruptions. That is one problem that can occur with phenolphthalein. Generally, because these are not being absorbed, उतना problem नहीं होता, but with phenolphthalein there is. Another stimulant purgative which is very very popular is castor oil. Castor oil जो है, this will get hydrolyzed in your small intestine. Upper small intestine में castor oil will change to ricinoleic acid. ठीक है. This fellow gets turned into something called ricinoleic acid. Ricinoleic acid. ठीक है. And this ricinoleic acid is a local irritant. It will irritate intestinal mucosa and it will cause increase in intestinal motility. The stool that comes out is semi-liquid. Okay, so that is about drugs used in constipation. In the next class, I'll tell you certain other scenarios where how drugs can cause constipation and how you will be treating that. What you will do? Certain drugs themselves can cause constipation and how laxative abuse can occur. Okay.